NFL.com released their offensive rankings for the 2020 season. The Chiefs, Ravens, and Saints rounded out the top three. The Cowboys took the fourth spot, and the Buccaneers came in fifth. Tom Brady was only given a B rating, but the receivers got an A+. So, Shannon, is this ranking for Brady and the Bucs too high or too low?
I believe it's too high. I'm not putting them in front of San Francisco. I'm not putting them in front of Atlanta. For the simple fact, Skip, we're going to have an abbreviated OTAs. We're going to have abbreviated minicamps. And so these guys have never played together. People act like last year did not happen. And everything that went wrong with New England offensively is all everybody else's fault. They don't want to give any blame to Tom Brady. Tom Brady right now is, at best case scenario, a top 10 quarterback, but he's closer to 9-10 than he is in the top 5. I think we can agree on that, Skip Bayless. He's not a top 5 quarterback currently. You can't even get around that. As much as you love Tom Brady, you can't even parse your lips to say Tom Brady a top 5 quarterback right now. And so, with that being said, Skip, how do you put him over San Francisco and what they were last year, or Atlanta coming back with all their weapons? Nah. And they got TG, who's going to be motivated because, I forgot, Tom Brady's the only guy that can be motivated. Nobody else is motivated. Only Tom Brady changed teams and going to be motivated. So, with that being said, I just think they're too high. The top three, I got no problem with that. Kansas City, I forget Baltimore. I have no problem with the top three, top 4 teams. But I don't think Tampa Bay should have been in the top 5 considering they have yet to play together. And some of the teams that they are ranked in front of played together last year. They have no chemistry issues, and they know they've already been in that system. So for me, I just think the Bucs are too high, and nobody wants to put any blame on what transpired in New England last year on Tom Brady. It was everybody else's fault except his.
And I say the Bucs are too low, just like your opinion of Brady is too low. It's lower than a snake. Okay, help me out here. What did we see last year in Tampa with Jameis Winston at quarterback? We saw Jameis Winston throw for the most yards in the National Football League. 5,109 yards from Jameis Winston. Yes. That not only led the league by a lot, that was the 8th most yards in NFL history. That's pretty great, Jameis. Way to go.
Yes.
He also threw 33 touchdown passes. Okay, that'll work because there's firepower around him. But as you well know, Jameis canceled a lot of that by throwing 30 interceptions and losing 5 fumbles. 35 total turnovers were 12 more than any other quarterback in the league. Let that sink in. 12 more turnovers by one quarterback in Tampa Bay than any other quarterback in the whole National Football League. Tom Brady had 8 interceptions with 1 lost fumble for a bad offense in New England. So that's 9 total turnovers versus 35? What if the Bucs cut their turnovers this year, pretty much the same offense, down to, let's say, 10 or 11, 12 turnovers, somewhere in there? Will that not upgrade that offense dramatically? Yes, it will. Yes. And by the way, that offense now features the greatest tight end in NFL history and a player that Brady had the greatest rapport with. The one player, Rob Gronkowski, who can get him through the night into the early season if, in fact, there's very little OTA training camp preparation. You're right. If chemistry doesn't click immediately, you got me. But I think Gronk will help him get through the early lack of rhythm with the other receivers. So if I take Tom Brady and I put him in this offense with 2 Pro Bowl receivers, and by the way, this NFL.com breakdown says that Mike Evans made a run in a stretch at Michael Thomas for being the best receiver in football last year, and that Chris Godwin also made a run for a stretch at Michael Thomas. They both made cases for a while. They were the best receiver in football. Wow. And Tom Brady's going to have those 2, plus Rob Gronkowski, plus you kept O.J. Howard and you kept Cameron Brate? Are you kidding me? And you upgraded your protection with Tristan Wirfs that they stole in the draft. They got the best of the 4 stud tackles down at 13. They traded from 14 to 13 and stole him. He went last of the 4, and he should have gone first. And he'll be the new right tackle. Shannon, okay, let me just sum this up, and then I'm going to give the ball back to you.
Okay.
I believe this offense will challenge Kansas City's for the best offense in pro football. I think it'll be neck and neck between those two for who puts up the most gaudy, spectacular numbers. Tampa, Tom, versus my homeboy. It's going to be a dead heat at the finish line. Photo finish.
So what we gonna do about L. Jack? Lamar Jackson, what he gonna do? You know, they got D. Benoit, they got DK,
he
they got
this
Dobbins.
kind of firepower.
Huh, Skip?
Okay.
Did you just see what he did last year?
Okay.
Skip, first of all, Mike Evans and Chris Godwin can, at best, the best they can hope to be for the very foreseeable future are the third and fourth best receivers in the South. Mike Thomas and Julio Jones has that on lock. Now they got to take another slot down in the NFC because D-Hop over there. So let's not get carried away, Skip Bayless.
Two of them.
I understand that, Skip. And with Gronk, Skip, Gronk has been away for a year. We don't know if we're going to get the Skip. You do remember he started to wear down. His last year, he had 3 touchdowns. He had his lowest number since his rookie season. That happened.
Yeah.
So, okay, maybe he recharge his batteries. Skip, if you really, Skip, he had some plays, Skip, but he wasn't the Gronk that we remember. You're looking at the one catch he had in Kansas City and the one big catch, a 29-yarder against what? But it's a season. The season is more than 3 games. It's more than a catch here or there. You do understand that, right? All I'm saying is, Skip, is that we need to see these guys play together. These guys haven't played together, and Tom is going to have to retrain the way he thinks. Tom is not a jump ball. He just doesn't throw it up like that. He did that with Randy. But how many, Skip, that was a decade ago since he last played with Randy Moss. He's not played with anybody as big as Mike Evans since Randy. So just putting the ball up, he's used to playing with smaller guys, which means he had a smaller window to put the ball in. So he needed these guys to be where they were supposed to be. Okay, now I got 6'5". I got 6'2", Chris Godwin out there. I got a bigger catch radius, so I got to change the way I think, Skip. So with Gronk, let's see what Gronk is going to give him early on, Skip. He did step away from the game for a year. Tom Brady is going to be 43. So that's going to be, that might be an issue also. But for me, I'm not putting them in front of teams that's been there. Now, you said it should be, the Cowboys, who led the league in total yards last year. And you've been waving about Randy Moss, CD Lamb. That's what everybody been calling him, Randy Moss Jr., Randy Moss 3.0. So they're going to take a step back. We got the best offensive line, the top 5 offensive line, and we got Amari, we got Gallup, and we got CD, and Zeke is going to bounce back, and a very motivated Dak Prescott. And you put the Bucs in front of them?
Yes, I do. Tom Brady is the GOAT, and the GOAT is playing at a supremely high level. And the gentleman who wrote this breakdown for NFL.com did say that Brady was languishing last season in a broken offense with precious little playmaking ability at his disposal. I told you his receivers were dead last in the NFL in what Pro Football Focus ranks as separation. They could not get open. Julian Edelman, beat up, broken down shell of himself, led the league in dropped passes. All of a sudden, you give Tom Brady 2 Pro Bowlers at receiver and Gronk and 2 tight ends. O.J. Howard is a flat-out coming-of-age stud. Even if Gronk just plays sparingly, I'll take O.J. Howard over certainly anything Brady had last year in New England. He had nothing. His tight ends last year were dead last as a unit in production in the NFL. And all of a sudden, Cameron Brate, a great red zone target, as well as Gronk can be. And then just real quick, I brought him up, and I'm going to say it again. Little Scotty Miller, little rookie out of Bowling Green, out of the slot last year, has supreme short area quickness. Watch him operate this year for Brady. Brady's going to love him. And Ronald Jones, that second-round pick out of USC 2 years ago, as a running back, started to come alive at the end of the year. He had 110 yards the last game of the year against Atlanta. And I'm going to warn you again, my little man from Vanderbilt University, Keyshawn Vaughn, they stole him in the third round.
Oh, my goodness.
He's got James White potential. This offense has firepower, and the GOAT is going to look a whole lot more like the GOAT this year now that he actually has some viable, credible weapons everywhere he turns. Shannon, you are in big trouble, as is my homeboy.
Let me ask you a question, Skip. Of the teams that's in the top, that's ranked ahead of them, who got worse offensively? Dallas got worse offensively?
Nobody.
Did Baltimore get worse offensively?
No, in fact, I'll give you this.
So
my homeboy got a little better. Clyde Edwards-Helaire was a great pickup. I told you before the draft. I wish Brady would have gotten him.